And welcome back to the Block Party. It's episode 3 of North Central Ohio's first and only volleyball show, and it's presented by our great friends at Bob and Bob Door Company. We had a great week of action in the sport of volleyball. As promised, we had 6 games go down that we're going to give you a recap of. So let's go ahead and head straight to Bob and Bob's OH recap. We start with our coverage last Thursday night as Mansfield Christian set Cub Country ablaze in straight sets. The Flames have now won 6 of their last 7 matches. Adele Kramer led the attack with 11 kills. Bella Rayburn shined on both sides of the ball with 4 kills and 2 blocks. Big test coming up with Buckeye Central and Northmore on the end of the non-league slate for this Mansfield Christian squad, so they will be put to the test soon enough. Monroeville joined the Broom Crew with a straight set win over Western Reserve on Thursday night. 3 seniors reached double-fig kills, with Addie Adams recording 13, Maddie Reber with 15, and Alexa Adams with 10. Addison Holman for the Eagles was also busy in the tight contest, collecting 27 digs and also receiving 14 serves. The Eagles extend their win streak to 13, with their last loss coming to Mohawk on August 23rd. They are looking to end Fireland's season unbeaten, with just St. Paul, New London, and Mapleton standing in their way. We got our first look on the OH.Report at Triway, who beat Orville in dramatic fashion Thursday as well. They won in 5 sets, with the win helping the Lady Titans stay undefeated in the Pac-7 conference as they look to be finishing things off for a league title. Mia Mariola put up a career-high 25 kills, made it a double-double as well with 17 digs. And then also we saw a setter masterclass with another double-double, this time from Taylor Mathis, recorded 55 assists and 12 digs. The Titans now have a 2-game cushion for that outright Pac-7 title. It would be their 3rd straight title in a row. Talking about Triway, they are on a real special run as of late in these last couple of years. It's a team that we haven't been too familiar with here at the OH.Report, so that's why we sent Big League Berardi down to go ahead and have a conversation with their head coach, who's going to tell you all about these Lady Titans and why they are legit heading into the postseason.
As we welcome in Triway Victories head coach Jackie Zodi. Coach, you come into a hostile environment. There's good student section, good crowd here tonight, a chance to really give yourselves an upper hand on the conference championship in the pack here, and you come out with a hard-fought 5th set victory. Just how impressed, how happy are you with your squad coming in here, fighting some adversity, you know, a tough loss in set 4, but you guys battle back, reset, and you win it?
Well, I'm really proud of our girls. Everybody came in and did a great job, and we had moments of, where we just couldn't get in rhythm, and then they found a way to get the rhythm back. And I was really proud of them, just taking a few balls to get back into rhythm after we lost Sid in that first set. And Sierra, we slid her over and moved McKaylee in, and they both did a great job. Everybody got adjusted, and then we left Lauren front row, and Lauren did a great job. Lauren sees the floor extremely well hitting, and she dropped the ball in the hole quite a bit. But, Mia had a great game. Tori had a great game in the back row. All the hitters had a great game. Taylor did a fantastic job spreading the ball around. So, Orville's young, and
they are.
They've done a great job with the team, and they're dangerous for sure. And I knew we'd have to work hard to get out of here tonight, and so I'm really thrilled that we did.
You guys, the number 20 team in the Week 3 coaches poll for the volleyball state rankings. Your 3 losses: top 10 team in Marlington and D4, D5 Norwayne squad, who's 2 spots ahead of you, so number 18, and then Waynedale, who's also receiving votes in D6. You guys stack the non-conference schedule. You play some tough teams in the pack, but just this has to be a good showing from a senior-laden squad where you're probably expecting to be at this point you're at right now.
Yes, I came in last year, and really we waved up almost all of them from the JV up to the varsity. There were a few varsity letter winners, and we had a big growing year last year, and those kids came back, this summer. They came back after an off season, and really I was just so impressed with how hard they'd worked in the off season and how much improved that they were. They'd been in the weight room. They're all playing extra, and they just really did some great things. We do certainly try to stack that non-conference schedule, and the Wayne County League is tough this year. They have 5 or 6 teams that are really good.
Yes, they are.
And so we have another one on Saturday morning. So you just have to show up every day. And really, even those 3 losses we had on any given day, I think either one of us could win. So we're not super tall in all spots, but our kids do a great job just adjusting. You just have to adjust.
You guys can dig it. That's the joke I always make. But no, honestly, like the amount of digs you had in the first match and the amount of digs that you guys have, you don't have the height for the blocks, but you guys are able to pretty much suck anything up that's shot. That has to be pivotal for your defense. Like you said, not very heightful, but you're able to really dig stuff.
Yes, we have kids that really have a lot of good skills. So if the block can even, the block gets the ball some, but if the block can even slow it down a little bit, you can't let people just free hit the back row. It is tough to be in the right position because the ball comes so fast. But they did a great job at least slowing it down for us, so we were able to get in there and dig the ball. So that was great to see.
You talked about Wayne County Athletic League being tough. The top half of your conference being tough. You're going to see some of these teams in the district tournament. But do you feel right now with where your team is at that you just finish off strong, that you could be a contender to maybe make a regional at least this year?
Quite possibly.
Yes.
We still have the Lake Catholics coming in and the Elyria Catholics coming in. So we'll just have to see how we settle out. We tournament seed this coming week, and the draw then is next Sunday. So, you have to, the way they do it, you get to pick one of 4 districts now. So you just really never know where you're going to land. You try, but you don't know who's going to jump in your bracket. So
mind games, I guess. Right?
And a lot of the teams we haven't seen, they're in the Youngstown area or the Cleveland area, and we don't see those teams. So it's just a little bit tough. But if we control what we do on our side of the floor, I feel like we can have a pretty good run.
Jumping back into action Tuesday night, the Crestview Cougars shook off a set 1 loss for the gentlemen's sweep of Mapleton. Mallory Ringler took home MVP honors with a 13-kill night, along with 9 digs and 18 serve receives. Zoe Kuhn also showed off the versatility. She had a double-double with 12 kills and 12 digs on the night. And Crestview, after this game, they'll wrap up the year next week with important dates with Norwalk St. Paul and Western Reserve to try to get closer to second place in the league. And Mohawk, talked about them a lot on episode 2. We're going to go right back to those Lady Warriors as they avenge themselves against Cary, splitting the season series, taking down the Devils in 4 sets. Biz Klopp busy again as she led the effort at the net to cruise on the road. Big game coming up next week for these Mohawk Warriors as they attempt to take down League number 1 Buckeye Central. And we wrap up on Wednesday night for my game that I got to see firsthand. The biggest comeback of the year. It went down over in Mount Gilead as the Ridgemont Golden Gophers stormed back from 2 sets down to earn their 10th win of the season. Kylie Streets from the Golden Gophers was crucial in their resurgence. 17 kills, 16 digs, 10 serve receives as well. And then Ruth Eckstein, got to talk about your serve specialist who had her serve working in the contest, recording 9 aces on the Lady Indians. Mount Gilead, unfortunately, they fall to 3-16 after the loss. Just felt like they were riding a little bit too high going into set 3, and you see those scores reflected. The Gophers rolled to a comeback win. Funny enough, ever since hosting this show, last night, Ridgemont Mount Gilead was my first time being back out to one of the courts, getting to take in some action with my own eyeballs. It was fantastic to get a game like that, going all the way to 5 sets. Golden Gophers, their first time on the OH.Report, they had a great time getting a good win against Mount Gilead. That's your OH recap. It is time now to take a quick break, thanks to our good friends at Bob and Bob Door Company. When we come back, Tournament Talk is going to take over the block party.
The Block Party, North Central Ohio's only volleyball show, is presented live and free to fans by the door experts at Bob and Bob Door Company, dedicated to providing fast, friendly, and reliable service for over 56 years. And now, let's get you back to the Block Party, streaming exclusively on OH.Report.
And welcome back to the Block Party presented by Bob and Bob Door Company. Time now for your favorite segment of the show. It's the Top Shelf Highlights. We were bold last week and let you vote on your favorite play of the week. We've got our first ever winner, and it is Reese Redmond from Colonel Crawford, finding the back line in this clip in the big rivalry against Winford. She gets it done, gets the win as well, and gets the Top Shelf victory for week 2. So we crowned Addie Adams from Monroeville as our week 1 winner. You voted on Reese Redmond as well as your week 2 winner. Congratulations to Reese from Colonel Crawford, and also thank you to everyone who voted, as we are going to keep going with the votes as we now have week 3 on the way. We're coming in hot with play number 1 as Centerburg's Jasmine Larimore skies over this Loudonville block for the emphatic kill. The Redbirds had no answer for the sophomore as she lit up the gym for 19 kills and 28 digs in the win. Let's usher in some paction. Orville's Norrell Hamilton walls up for the perfect block. Off the hands, directed right onto the far sideline for a Red Rider point. Your episode 2 queen is back at it again at play number 3. Colonel Crawford's Reese Redmond calls her shot, 8-ball corner pocket. Look again in slow-mo as this one paints the back corner against Upper Sandusky. The Cougs are back on our countdown for yet another block. Return to sender. This time it's the duo of Mallory Ringler and Raylan Weaver who reject this attempt from Mapleton. Not the result that Mount Gilead wanted on Wednesday night, but Lindsay Ayers showed off her offensive ability with this cannon right into the campfire of Ridgedale. How about a 2-parter at play number 6? This Lucas Libero lays out to keep the play alive just for the Flames to work it around to their favorite flamethrower. Chelsea Ward pummels this past the Cubbies, and there was no chance for another effort from the opposition. Back to Orville as this ace from Triway's Peyton Snyder had to make the cut. Look at how this ricochets off the tape in a big spot as the Titans rolled to a comeback win in 5 sets over the Rough Riders. And finally, Monroeville's Addie Adams returns to the top shelf with an ace of her own. This ball lands in bounds for one of the final points in the Eagles' win over Western Reserve. And it's time yet again for you to vote now. Leave your favorite play in the comments below. See who will reign supreme for episode 3 of the Top Shelf Highlight. And we're changing it up this week. Last week we took votes off of our original post on the live on Thursday. We're going to put something else separate out on Sunday afternoon. So keep an eye out for a post on Sunday afternoon to leave your vote for week 3's play of the week. We're going to take one final break. Thanks to Bob and Bob Door Company, we'll be back here for the Block Party on the OH.Report.
The Block Party, North Central Ohio's only volleyball show, is presented live and free to fans by the door experts at Bob and Bob Door Company. Dedicated to providing fast, friendly, and reliable service for over 56 years. And now, let's get you back to the Block Party, streaming exclusively on OH.Report.
And welcome back to the Block Party. It is time for a little bit of a change up here. You know that we love our conference spotlights. Well, how about we spotlight all 7, in fact, all 9 of our conferences as we go ahead and look at decision day coming up within the next 7 days. I've got a lot of conferences on my list that I want to go over. I've got 7, I believe, that we're going to show standings of. Actually, it's 6, and we're going to have 8 that we talk about in total. So just to get those other 2 out of the way, I want to congratulate Kidron Central Christian of the MBC, and then also want to congratulate Triway of the Pac-7 on already solidifying themselves as conference champions in some sort of fashion. Kidron Central Christian has already solidified an outright title. I believe with with Triway, they have booked up at least a share of the conference championship. So we are going to go ahead and step those aside and focus in on some of the other leagues that have a lot tighter of races. In fact, 2 of them could be very well decided before this episode even airs. So we want to knock those out as well. So we'll start with the Firelands Conference, taking a look at those standings. It's a league that we have not yet to spotlight this year, but it was a fantastic one. Monroeville and St. Paul, we're going to focus in there. 11-0 on the league. The Lady Eagles going into tonight's game against St. Paul, a team that's 10-1. You can see they both play each other. That will be at St. Paul. So when it comes to the league race, that is about it when it comes to St. Paul and the advantages that they have with the remaining part of their schedule. You see Monroeville plays New London, that sits 4th in the league. On Tuesday next week, they play Mapleton towards the bottom of the league. So their schedule, Monroeville, fades down a little bit. Really, if they can win this game tonight against St. Paul, and the result will definitely be decided before you're seeing this clip. So if Monroeville defeats St. Paul, they pretty much solidify themselves as champions. But if St. Paul does win this game, it does not necessarily mean that they are in the clear just yet, because that Crestview squad could definitely pull an upset. They would drop to 2 losses if they lose to the Lady Cougars, and then Monroeville would be right back in the picture to win an outright title. Decision day technically is the 9th, but it very well could be tonight, as Monroeville and St. Paul are going to have a really good battle ahead of them. Moving on to the WCAL, another league that's going to be decided tonight between Dalton and Norwayne. This one going to be at Norwayne tonight, and if Dalton does indeed win, it'll be another league title in a row for them. They sit 17-1 on the year, but Norwayne, they're definitely no slouch at 14-3. So if Norwayne can pull off a win, tie them both up for the top of the league, then you look at the next 2 games that both teams have in the notes. Ridgemont and Hillsdale for Dalton. Both teams have to go through Hillsdale, which I think is unique. Decision day is going to be next Thursday, October 9th. And Dalton taking on Hillsdale on the road. I'm sure that's a game that Big League Baretti will be fiending to have live and free on the OH Report, if that certainly if that has some indication on who wins the WCAL, whether it's going to be an outright title or if it's going to be a share between Dalton and Norwayne. When I'm looking at both of these teams' schedules, I favor Dalton if they win, obviously, but I think if Norwayne pulls off the upset, very similar to with St. Paul, if they can beat Dalton tonight, they could definitely cruise and take down a Hillsdale team in a Northwestern side and sneak away with that win if Hillsdale decides to play spoilers next Thursday. So WCAL, interesting picture as it sits right now, but it's all going to depend on what happens tonight before this episode even airs. So if Dalton ends up coming out with a win, ignore everything I just said, your Bulldogs would be the WCAL outright champions. Now we move to the KMAC, and this is where things get a little bit more interesting because it's looking like decision day is going to be the very last day of the year. This coming Tuesday, October 7th, Centerburg sits 1 game ahead right now. They've got a solid cushion. They beat Loudonville both times, so the Redbirds are pretty much out of the picture unless Centerburg drops a late game against Fredericktown. The Freddies could play spoilers. Fredericktown, I put their remaining games, very unlikely that a 3-loss team wins the title here, but definitely things could get chaotic if Loudonville drops a game to Northmore and say Centerburg drops this game against Northmore tonight. But Fredericktown, Centerburg, that's going to be the big game next week. I will be on the call for that, live and free from Centerburg High School. Very fortunate draw as well for Centerburg that they get to end the season with both of their games in the league at home. Loudonville has that same luxury, but of course with 1 loss extra, they're going to have to work hard and they're going to need some help as well to win a share of the KMAC. We move to the OCC, where there was a fantastic shakeup if you are a Dover Crimson Tornadoes fan, as Worcester fell to Lexington in 5 sets in their last game, and that has completely opened up this OCC conference. Dover sitting pretty at first. They've got 3 games to go in the league. That's the one big thing if you're a Crimson Flashes fan, that you've got to, or Crimson Tornadoes fan, pardon me, but you've got to get through 3 games. However, you look at the opponents they play. Tonight is the big one. Got to get past Ashland if you want to win yourself an OCC title. So that title runs through the arrows right now, as long as Dover can win at home, because you've got Mansfield Senior, a winless squad that you'll get to go play against on Saturday. And then decision day is going to be this Tuesday in the OCC. Everybody in action on that day. Dover will have the big rivalry with the Quakers over at New Philadelphia. Worcester, tough loss for them. They'll have to bounce back against Madison and West Holmes, 2 games that statistically and looking at records, they probably should win regardless. So you're looking at them being a 2-loss team at the end of the OCC season. Dover's just got to get through Ashland, and I think they've got the OCC covered up as well. Lexington, they threw a screw in things, decided to put their remaining schedule. They've got Mansfield Senior and Ashland on the road. Most likely not going to see a 3-loss winner here in the OCC, but Lexington definitely did their job helping Dover potentially win an OCC title. Jumping to the MOAC, where it's going to be tough to topple Pleasant. They're 19-0 on the season, but they do have 2 really tough games coming up. Tonight they play Shelby, or if as you're watching this, they played Shelby. Hopefully the Pleasant Lady Spartans got the win in that game, but it's right back to the gauntlet. Decision day on Tuesday. If Pleasant wins tonight, they solidify themselves as at least a champion. If they lose, it could get shaky because Highland plays Ontario, and if they win that, they could potentially knock off Pleasant and win an outright championship, with both of them sitting with 1 loss going into that game. So if you're Pleasant, gotta win tonight, try to get at least a share, but if you do win, then go over to Highland, play spoilers on the road, and get yourself an outright title while you are at it. 19-0 on the season. This Pleasant team has rolled through their competition. Highland, it's going to be a tall task for them to get back into the picture, but it's a pretty straightforward MOAC title race as we head into Tuesday. Highland's got to win out, and they got to hope that Pleasant potentially drops one to Shelby, but if not, no harm done, because you can still win that game on Tuesday to get a share as long as you beat Ontario. And finally, wrapping things up with the N10, my favorite picture right now, as it's a very similar note to what we talked about with Worcester and Ontario. Mohawk, they have been rolling as of the last couple of weeks. They surpassed Cary after beating them this past week. So they jumped to 14-4, their even record with Buckeye Central. And there is a big game coming up this Tuesday between Mohawk and Buckeye Central. You see it in the notes. Tonight, both teams play teams lower in the standings, of course. Colonel Crawford, that's who Buckeye Central will have to travel to tonight. Mohawk plays Bucyrus. If they say they win those games tonight, there's still a 1-game cushion for the Buckettes, but if they lose it, they would tie up with Mohawk, and then you're looking at the end of the year where you're most likely just competing to stay with a share of the title. I know that both teams want an outright championship. It's going to take some work for Mohawk to get that done. They need to win out, and they need Buckeye Central to lose 2 of the games that you see on your screen. One of them, though, can be controlled by Mohawk if they can win that game on Tuesday. But decision day here is Thursday, October 9th. My favorite time of the year is kind of breaking down standings and seeing how teams can end up winning conference titles. So I hope you enjoyed that segment. I certainly did as well. Tournaments coming up. It's fall. Brought out the flannel here tonight. Very excited for these next couple of weeks because volleyball is just heating up, folks, because episode 4 is going to be a doozy. You're going to want to come back for it. Same time, same place, right here on the OH Report for episode number 4. That's going to do it for our show today. Really looking forward to the rest of the season. Thanks to Bob and Bob Door Company bringing you this special coverage, your first and only volleyball show here in North Central Ohio. And we're going big these next couple of weeks. You can quote me on that. Have a great rest of your night. Hope to see you around for some football on Friday. And make sure to get your vote in for our top play of the week from the top shelf. Sunday afternoon, you can submit your vote for your favorite play. Have a great rest of your night. We will see you around on the OH Report.